You're listening to the KFWB News Talk 980. My name is Les Brown, and we thank you so much for joining us Monday through Friday from 2 o'clock until 4. And we have a good time. I don't know if you're having a good time, but I've enjoyed myself. You got to enjoy yourself. I laugh at myself, too. I do. I tickle myself. We're talking about dealing with a breakup, and how did you handle ending a relationship? And have you ever looked back and you were in a relationship and you look back on that relationship that you fought so hard for, that person had you flipping through all kind of hoops, doing everything you could to keep that relationship together. Now, you know it wasn't good for you. Didn't make any sense at all. And have you ever looked at someone years later that you were once involved with and you ask yourself, what state of mind was I in when I went up in there? What was wrong with me? What state of consciousness was I in? I must have been real bad off. When I thought that was something, I gave up my heart and my mind to this person. I can't believe it. I mean, there are people you look at now that you were once involved with, and you'll say, I can't believe I did that. That person, whoever that was, they're not here now. They're gone. You hear me? I want to hear from you. How have you handled a breakup? And guys, come on now. I just shared my soul, and I know I'm not the only one that has cried. I'm not the only one that had diarrhea or constipated, couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, and just crazy out of your mind. I know I'm not the only one. I've got some company out there somewhere. The number to call. We're talking about heartbreak. And ladies, come on, give it up. 888. 539-2980. Hey, Robert, thank you, man. First of all, Robert, as Denzel would say, thank you for manning up. How you doing? Thank you for calling in.
I'm doing good. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, you're quite welcome. Have you ever been in love, Robert?
Yes.
How did you know? What were the symptoms that you knew that you were in love?
Just the feeling of just wanting to do whatever I could for the person I was with.
Yes, yeah. You sound like you still in the throes of that, man.
Yeah, it's a very tough transition right now.
Okay, now, what is it about this person that you love about them? What is it about them that really grabbed your heart?
Well, when I met her about 13 years ago, she was early 20s, I was mid-30s, and it was like love at first sight, man. And she just really a giving person. She's very affectionate, happy-go-lucky type person.
Mm-hmm.
We were together a little over 12 years. We have a 10-year-old son. And she bent over backwards to do her best to change me, and through the years, she gave her all and more.
Yes.
And I didn't give back as much as I should have to her. And the last couple of years, it's been rocky. And we separated physically about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
And she has her place, I have my place. And she met a guy about a year ago. I found out about him about a month ago when we physically broke up.
Yes.
And a good week after that, they moved in together. They just got married a couple of days ago.
Mm.
And our 10-year-old son is like back and forth right now, so it's a hell of a transition right now.
Let me ask you this. They say that some people come in your life, some for a reason, some for a season, and some for a lifetime. What did you learn? That was a season the two of you spent together. What did you learn from that experience, that as you go forward and you're going to find your rightful mate? What did you learn from that experience? What was the lesson for you about Robert that's going to change now?
Well, what I learned and what I'm applying now is when I met her, I was coming out of a turbulent marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And out of that marriage, I have an 18-year-old daughter. And before I even divorced from that previous marriage, I was already involved with this person and moving forward with her. So now, in the aftermath of her and I physically breaking up, I don't have anyone in my life right now. So I need to... Because I seriously feel you need time to regroup, pick yourself up, brush yourself off, get yourself back together, then subject a new person into your life.
Well, you said you don't have anybody else in your life right now. You have Robert, and that's the most important person that you have in your life right now. And now it's time for what you just said, for Robert to regroup, for Robert to do an assessment and then ask some key questions. What are the behaviors that you look at that as you take responsibility for what happened and the outcome of that relationship, and you've been honest about that and upfront, and thank you for that she worked hard to try and change who you were at that particular time, and you weren't participating in the restructuring of who you could have become to keep that relationship together. But if you had to identify 3 things about yourself that you know that sabotage that relationship, what would those 3 things be that you'll know that you can learn from that and you can move on and bring a different person in that next relationship?
Well, I'm going to find some of that now. One main thing is eye contact.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm talking about qualities. I'm talking about qualities, not eye contact. In terms of your behavior, in terms of your mindset, in terms of how you conducted yourself in the relationship, what are the behaviors that you would change?
A big area would be to be unselfish.
Unselfish.
So to myself and see what I can get out of it.
Yes. And what's the next one would be?
Just to be more sensitive to the other person's needs and be there for them.
Be there for them. And what's something else? What did you say that you would change about yourself?
Just to be more loving, man. Not to be so rigid.
Yes. So to loosen up and be more loving and caring and giving of yourself.
Right.
That's good. You can do that. You can do that. And you sound like a sensitive person, and it takes a special kind of guy to call in for us to have this conversation right now. And I want to thank you for being open and transparent around this. And there are people who can benefit from that. And all of us can learn from being unselfish in relationships, being more giving, being more sensitive of the other person's needs, and seeing what we can do and how we show up in that relationship in a better kind of way. And, of course, bringing the love, coming from a place of love, even when there's some tough times in that relationship. That's very important.
Right.
Yes. So you're healing right now, and here's what we know. Whatever pain that you're experiencing right now, that pain has not come to stay. It has come to pass, and you'll be a bigger and stronger person on the way through this journey, this growth experience, and this is preparing you for that next relationship. This relationship, sometimes relationships can prepare you for that next relationships. And so that old Robert, he's dead. You have been born again. You've given new birth to a new person that you know you'll have to show up in a different kind of way in your future relationship. And here's the best to you, and finding that person who is the right person for you, because you're a good person and you're going to find that right mate. Thank you so much for calling in, and thank you for having the conversation.
Thank you, Les, and keep striving for better.
Most certainly, I will do that. The mark of greatness is upon you. Listen, I want to hear from you. Have you gone through a heartbreak? What was it like for you? You know, I laugh as I talk about it, but I wasn't laughing when I went through it. It was tough. And as I listened to Robert, I could hear it in his voice that when you're breaking up with someone that you really care about and is still fresh in your mind, it's tough. It is a struggle. And they've written some books on it, but I didn't have them at that particular time. And I don't know if they would have been helpful or not. I did have some good friends that stayed in my ear to help me to maintain my sanity, because I felt like my guts had been just snatched out. My heart had been taken out and thrown back in my hands. I want you to call if you've ever gone through a heartbreak. What's the best suggestion of how to get out of a toxic relationship, a relationship where you're not growing, you're dying together rather than growing together, and you just decided one day, I got to leave here. I know it's going to hurt, but I got to let go or be dragged. Call me right now, 888-539-2980. That's 888-539-2980. How do you handle your heartbreak? My name is Les Brown. You're listening to KFWB News Talk 980.